Hey again everybody, this is another Microsoft Excel tutorial. Today we're going to have just a quick introduction to charts. And when we're making charts with Microsoft Excel, charts are basically what most people call graphs. It's just a visualization of information that you have from a table, which is this up here. And Microsoft Excel calls graphs charts. So we have up here our first table, which is some made-up teams and some made-up attendance for their home games. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to create our first chart, which is going to be a comparison of the average attendance for each team. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to select by moving my cursor into the middle of cell A2, and I'm clicking and holding, and then I'm going to drag down all the way down to Wildcats because that's my teams. And if I want to compare that to the total or average over here, I can't remember what I said earlier, but I guess we'll do average. Average isn't right next to this, so if I want to highlight multiple cells that are non-adjacent, I have this group over here selected. Then I'm going to hold down the control button, and then I'm going to click and drag over here as well, and then you can see we have this area highlighted and we have this area highlighted. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to insert, and I'm going to create a chart. The best way to compare side-by-side comparisons would be using what they refer to as the column chart. So I'm going to click this arrow, and it doesn't really matter which ones that we use. It just kind of depends on what your preference is or what best shows the information that you want to display. I'm going to choose this one right here, the stacked column, and after I clicked that, this comes up and you can see where we have our numbers over here, and then we have our teams down here, and then it gives you a color code on the side as well. If you want to change the title of this, I'm going to double click up here on the chart title, and I'm just going to call this average attendance, so that way it's a little bit easier to understand what it is. So that's the first chart that I was going to show you guys how to do. Again, this one is called a column chart, good for side-by-side comparisons. It has the numbers and information on there, but you can also get a good visual idea of, you know, which teams are getting more people to go to their games. Okay, so that's the first one that we did. We're going to do another chart with the same table up here. What I'm going to do for this one, I want to compare the attendance for one of the teams. I'll just choose the Bulldogs. I'm going to choose their attendance for each week. So I'm going to select right here, and since these are adjacent, these are touching, I'm going to just select these 5. I don't want the total in there, that'll kind of goof things up. Okay, I'll go back up to insert, and this time I'm going to go to line chart. I'm using a line chart because they're best at showing how things change over time. So I clicked on the arrow there. I'm just going to choose my first option here. And after I clicked on that, we have our numbers over here for the amount of people that have gone to the games, or the choices it could be. And then down here we have our period of time, which is game 1 through game 5. And at the top it says Bulldogs over here. It gives us a color code. Again, in case if we wanted to put all the teams in this, I would select them all, and each team would have a different color. If I want to double click, same up here, I could say Bulldogs attendance per game, or whatever you want to call it. So again, this here is 2 examples of our charts. We used the column chart for side-by-side comparisons. We used this line chart for showing rate or values over time. And then we have one more that we'll show. This is just a simple budget down here, like a monthly budget, and I'm going to compare each of these together. So I'm going to choose category and amount, or actually I could do it either way. And I'm going to select my options. I'm going to skip total again, and this time I'm going to go up to insert, and I'm going to go to pie, and I'm going to go to my pie chart. Now I can see visually here how these compare to each other for the month. So I'm going to use a pie chart when I'm showing parts of a whole. Now, sometimes you have a chart and you don't have all the information that you want on there. Maybe I want the actual numbers inside of this chart. And what I can do here is I can click on the different layouts. So if I choose layout 6 up here underneath my design tab and I click on that, then it goes ahead and it puts in each of the percentages, and then I can add my title up here at this time. So I would say and there we have it. So we learned about 3 charts today. We have the column chart, side-by-side comparisons. We have the line chart, which is showing values over a course of a time period. And we have the pie chart, which shows parts or percentages of a whole. Hopefully this information is useful to you, and you'll join us again for some more tutorials.